Let her die. She is useless now. Dead weight.
Those were the words her husband whispered to his mistress right beside her hospital bed while she lay in a coma fighting for a life they had already thrown away. For weeks they planned her funeral, the flowers, the speeches, even the dress she would be buried in. They laughed over it. They kissed over it. They even argued about who would inherit her things. She heard none of it. But the nurse did. Then one morning, everything changed. A flicker in her fingers, a whisper of breath, a quiet, terrified gasp from the nurse. She is back. And the moment those words left the nurse's mouth, he panicked out of fear of what she might remember. So he did the unthinkable, something darker than all his betrayals, something he thought no one would ever see. But fate has a way of exposing monsters at the exact moment they feel safest. This is the story of a woman who rose from the edge of death only to discover that the real danger was not the coma. It was the man waiting beside her bed. Hello family. Welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you are helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you are watching from. Because together, we are not just telling stories. We are keeping hope alive. Everything inside Emily Carter felt trapped in thick, unmoving darkness. It was not sleep. Not really. It was a deep, heavy silence that kept her pinned in place, as if her body belonged to someone else, and the world had forgotten she existed. Sometimes she felt pressure on her hand. Sometimes a cold breeze brushed her skin. Sometimes footsteps came close, then drifted away. But none of it reached her fully. It was all distant, as if she were underwater, trying to catch pieces of sound that disappeared before she could hold on to them. Then one voice pushed through. Let her die. She is useless now. Dead weight. It was a man's whisper, sharp, controlled, and painfully familiar, even through the fog smothering her mind. You said the doctors already warned you, a second voice said. It was a woman, soft but with a cold edge. They do not think she will wake up, so why wait? Why drag this out? Footsteps, a shift of fabric, a slow, frustrated sigh. We should not be having this conversation here, the man muttered. Well, you are the one who brought me in here, the woman shot back. The voices faded again, swallowed by the darkness. Emily could not move. She could not open her eyes. She could not speak. But something inside her, some tiny instinct, tightened with fear. The voices were not strangers. She would know them anywhere. They belonged to her husband, Daniel, and Lauren, the woman she once called a friend. What Emily did not hear, but the nurse did, was the rest. Nurse Karen O'Neill had paused in the doorway, a medication chart in hand. She had been walking in for the routine vitals check when the words froze her mid-step. Her grip tightened around the chart until the plastic bent. She had not meant to listen, but the moment she heard, "Let her die," she stopped breathing. Karen had been a nurse for 12 years. She had heard family members give up on loved ones before, but she had never heard someone say it like a request, or worse, like a plan. She pressed herself back against the wall, hidden just out of sight. Daniel Carter stood by his wife's bedside, wearing the expression everyone in the hospital knew well by now. The devoted husband, the man who never missed a visiting hour, the husband who brought flowers every week and said, She is the love of my life, to anyone within earshot. He had charmed the nurses, the doctors, even the families in the waiting room. But his voice now was nothing like the public Daniel. The private one was colder. Lauren stood beside him, arms crossed, wearing expensive perfume and a careful smile that did not match her eyes. She was not supposed to be there. Karen knew she had signed in earlier as a family friend, but hospitals see enough drama to recognize when someone has no business being that close. Lauren stepped nearer to Emily's bed and looked down at her as if inspecting something that had gone out of style. She has not moved in weeks, she said with a shrug. They say sometimes the body just stays like this, organs working, brain quiet. A vegetable. I am just saying, why prolong the misery? Karen felt her stomach twist. Daniel rubbed his jaw the way he always did when he was thinking through something unpleasant. The insurance policy does not pay out unless she is declared brain dead or passes naturally. I cannot rush anything. So now you are patient. Lauren laughed quietly. You have been complaining non-stop about how her coma is holding everything up. Lower your voice, Daniel hissed. But Karen heard it, every word. Emily, trapped in a body that refused to wake, did not hear the rest. The darkness swallowed her again. But Karen backed away slowly, heart pounding, unsure what to do. Reporting something like that could destroy her career if she was wrong. And Daniel Carter was not just respected. He had money, lawyers, and influence. The kind of man who always got what he wanted. The next morning, when visiting hours began, Daniel returned alone, carrying a cup of black coffee and wearing the same fragile smile he used for sympathy. The volunteers at the front desk adored him. Such a dedicated husband, they would whisper. He walked into Emily's room just as Carol, Emily's mother, placed a warm hand on her daughter's arm. Carol always talked to her as if she were awake. It was the only comfort she could offer. Daniel stepped inside, cleared his throat, and waited for Carol to notice him. She did, but she did not smile. Morning, Carol said. Daniel nodded. How is she doing today? The same as yesterday, Carol replied. She looked him up and down. I did not see you last night. Daniel's expression did not flinch. Meeting ran late. I did not want to wake you if you were sleeping when I came home. I was not home, she said. I was here. A tiny crack split his mask. Before he could speak again, Lauren walked by the door. She was not even trying to hide. She drifted past with her high heels clicking on the tile, then paused halfway down the hall and gave Daniel a small coy smile. Carol's face changed instantly. What is she doing here? Carol asked, narrowing her eyes. And why is she looking at you like that? Daniel did not turn toward Lauren. He kept his eyes on Carol and forced a soft sigh. She is here visiting her aunt. She texted me earlier saying she was on this floor. I did not want you to misunderstand. Oh, sweetheart, Carol said quietly. You do not have to twist your words for my sake. I know when someone is lying. Daniel stepped closer to her. Carol, please. You are exhausted. You are worried. I get it, but do not make this ugly. I am not making anything ugly, she said. But that woman has never set foot here before. And the way she just looked at you. Carol, his tone dropped. Stop. Karen watched from the hallway, pretending to check a supply cart. She saw Carol wipe her eyes and look down at her daughter again. I do not trust her, Carol whispered. And I do not trust you when she is around. Daniel did not respond. He walked to the opposite side of the bed, adjusted Emily's blanket for show, and said, "Let's focus on Emily." Karen felt the tension thickening like fog. Emily's heart rate monitor beeped in a steady rhythm, unaware of the cracks forming around her. Later that afternoon, Daniel met with Dr. Foley near the nurse's station. "I want to revisit the topic of her living will," Daniel said quietly. Dr. Foley frowned. "We already reviewed it. It says life support can be withdrawn only after 2 independent neurological exams determine no brain activity. She is not there." Daniel leaned in. "Emily and I updated the paperwork months ago. I emailed a revised copy. You said you would look into it." "We saw the document," the doctor replied. "But there were inconsistencies with the signature." Daniel's jaw tightened. "It is authentic." "We are not convinced." Daniel straightened his suit jacket, ready to argue when Lauren approached again. She moved with the confidence of someone who knew she had power over him. "Are we still on for dinner?" she asked lightly, ignoring the doctor. Daniel shot her a warning look. Dr. Foley raised an eyebrow. "Dinner?" Lauren realized the slip too late. She attempted a laugh, brushing it off. "Oh, I meant the charity fundraiser. Everyone from his firm is going. I am helping plan the guest list." Karen knew a lie when she heard one. So did the doctor, but neither pushed further. When Lauren walked away, Daniel returned to the topic quickly. "My wife would not want this. She would not want to be kept alive with no hope." "That is not what her paperwork says," Dr. Foley answered. "If you are asking us to withdraw care against protocol, I will not sign off." Daniel's polite smile was strained. "Then find someone who will." Karen watched him storm off with a tightness in her chest. She had seen family members break under grief, but Daniel was not breaking. He was pressuring, manipulating, and pushing like someone who was not grieving at all. In the days that followed, Karen noticed more signs. Daniel arrived with Lauren more often, though Lauren always stayed just outside the doorway now, pretending to keep her distance. If anyone passed by, she acted as if she barely knew him. But when they thought the hall was empty, they whispered too close, argued too quietly, and touched in ways no family friend ever would. And Emily, still silent, still trapped, absorbed none of it. Carol saw pieces, enough to trigger alarm. One evening, she stepped out of Emily's room and saw Daniel cornered by Lauren at the end of the hallway. Lauren touched his tie and said something that made him laugh. He leaned in, whispering something back, his hand brushing her waist. Carol gasped in disbelief. Lauren turned first and forced a sweet smile. "Oh, Carol, I did not see you there." Daniel straightened instantly. "Carol, this is not what it looks like." Carol's voice cracked. "Then tell me what it is." "Work," Daniel said. "Just work. Her team is handling one of my accounts. We were going over." "I am not stupid," Carol snapped, tears forming. "My daughter is in there fighting for her life, and you are out here." "Keep your voice down," Daniel hissed. "No," Carol's voice trembled, but stayed strong. "I knew something was strange. You barely visit without checking your phone every 5 minutes. You leave early. You come late, and now I see why." Lauren stepped closer, lowering her voice into a false, soothing tone. "Emotions run high during times like this. Let's not jump to conclusions. Do not talk to me like I'm a child, Carol said sharply. Daniel grabbed Carol's elbow. Let's go talk somewhere private. Carol jerked her arm back. Do not you dare touch me. Karen hurried over, pretending she had a question about medication, giving Carol an escape. Carol thanked her with her eyes before walking back into Emily's room. Lauren shifted her weight, annoyed. Daniel muttered something under his breath, and they walked off together, whispering fiercely. That night, Karen charted Emily's vitals with a tight throat. She kept thinking about the living will, the half-heard conversations, the lies they told so easily. She wanted to step in to warn someone to report something. But the rules were strict. Suspicion did not count. Nurses had lost their licenses over less. Still, something was wrong. Deeply wrong. Days passed. Lauren's boldness grew. One afternoon, she tossed her purse onto the chair beside Emily's bed and said, "When all of this is over, Daniel promised we would take a trip somewhere warm, somewhere quiet. No hospitals." Daniel smirked. "When everything is settled?" "Yeah." Karen saw the way he said it. Not if Emily woke up. Not if her condition improved. When everything is settled, as if her death was only a matter of paperwork. Karen swallowed her anger, turned back to the monitor, and pretended she was not listening. Later that same day, Karen overheard them again from the hallway. "We need to talk about her things," Lauren said, flipping through a magazine. "I want the ring she never wears. The one from her grandmother." "She would not want you to have that," Daniel whispered. "She does not get to want anything anymore," Lauren replied. "It is not that simple." "It is," she said, touching his arm. "You promised me." Karen's pulse spiked. Promised. They were acting like Emily was already gone. That night, when Carol arrived, she found Daniel alone in the room, staring at Emily without emotion. He adjusted her blanket again, the way he always did when someone might be watching. Carol stood by the door, her voice quiet and tired. "You know what hurts the most? That I trusted you. That I believed you loved her." Daniel did not turn around. "I do love her." "No," Carol said softly. "You love how she made you look. There is a difference." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Go home, Carol. Rest. You can order the doctors around, but you do not get to order me," she said. "Not anymore." She walked to Emily's bedside and kissed her forehead. Then she whispered something Daniel could not hear. When she left, Daniel's phone buzzed. He checked the screen, smirked, and slipped out the door to meet Lauren in the hallway. Karen entered a moment later. She checked Emily's vitals, adjusted her pillow, and paused. "I do not know if you can hear me," she whispered. "But I am here and something is not right. I can feel it." The monitor beeped steadily in response. Karen squeezed Emily's hand gently. "Please wake up, please." But Emily remained still. Until she did not. A week later, on a quiet Wednesday morning, Karen walked into the room with a cup of warm water and fresh linens. The sun filtered through the blinds. The hallway outside was calm, a rare, peaceful moment. Karen lifted Emily's hand to change the sheet beneath it. Then she froze. Her eyes widened. Emily's index finger twitched once, then again. Karen's heart leaped into her throat. She leaned closer, staring at the hand, holding her breath. "Emily," she whispered. Can you hear me? The finger twitched harder, unmistakable this time. Karen gasped. Oh my God. She reached for the call button, then hesitated. Part of her wanted to shout down the hallway. Part of her wanted to run straight to the nurse's station, but Daniel walked in at that exact second. He stopped cold. What happened? Karen turned, voice shaking with shock. She moved, Daniel. She moved. I think she is coming back. His face did not show joy. It showed fear. Real fear. Pure panic slid across his eyes before he forced it into something neutral. He swallowed hard. What exactly did she do? He asked. Her finger. It moved twice. I think she is waking up. Daniel stared at his wife for a long moment, then stepped toward the bed slowly. Too slowly. Karen did not like the look in his eyes. I need to go get Dr. Foley, she said quickly. This could be the first sign of recovery. She rushed out of the room, heart pounding. Behind her, Daniel stayed perfectly still, watching the door close. Then he turned back toward Emily, and his expression changed. Daniel stood beside the bed, hands pressed flat against the rails, staring at Emily's still face. The room felt smaller now, tighter, like the walls leaned in to listen. His breath came out uneven, not because he was scared for her, but because he was scared of what she might remember if she woke up fully. He dragged his hand across his mouth. No, he muttered. Not now. Not after everything. He paced to the foot of the bed, then to the window, unable to stop moving. Every part of his body looked restless, but underneath it was calculation, the same cold, problem-solving Karen had seen in him for weeks. He looked at Emily as if she held a secret that could destroy him. When he finally stopped pacing, he stepped close to her, leaning down so his lips were inches from her ear. If you wake up, he whispered, you will ruin everything. You cannot do that to me. Emily heard none of it, but something deep inside her stirred again, a faint shift beneath the dark fog. Daniel straightened when footsteps echoed in the hall. Lauren appeared in the doorway, breathless. I just heard Karen said she moved. Is it true? Daniel's jaw tightened. Do not repeat that out loud. Lauren stepped inside, shutting the door behind her. Daniel, listen to me. If she wakes up now, everything is over. Everything. You said it yourself. She might not remember anything, he said. Though even he did not sound convinced. You want to risk that? Lauren hissed. You want to risk her telling someone about the fight, about the breaks, about us? Daniel clenched his fists. Stop talking. Lauren grabbed his arm. If she wakes up and she talks, your life is done. The business, the money, your reputation. You will lose everything, Daniel. You know you will. He looked at her, then back at Emily. The panic in his eyes flickered again. Lauren stepped closer, lowering her voice to a sharp whisper. We have one chance. Do not mess this up. Before he could answer, Karen's voice echoed from the hallway. Daniel, Lauren, Dr. Foley is on his way up. He wants to see Emily immediately. Lauren's fingers slipped from Daniel's arm. We need to leave now. Go play the worried husband or whatever you do. Just do not let that doctor think she is improving. Daniel hesitated. What if she wakes up while I am gone? Then pray she cannot speak, Lauren whispered, then slipped out the door. Daniel waited until her footsteps faded before following. He stepped into the hall right as Dr. Foley approached. All business. The doctor nodded in greeting, but kept walking. Daniel did not follow him back in. He lingered near the nurse's station, pacing again, his eyes flicking toward the hallway every few seconds. Inside the room, Dr. Foley examined Emily carefully. Karen stood beside him, heart pounding with hope. It was definite movement, she said. I have seen plenty of involuntary twitches. This was different. I believe you, Foley said. His voice was calm, but his eyes scanned Emily's face intently. He lifted her hand, checked her reflexes, then watched her eyelids. Emily, he murmured, if you can hear me, try to move your fingers again. For a moment, nothing happened. The monitor beeped steadily. Karen held her breath. Then Emily's index finger twitched again. Tiny, weak, but unmistakable. Karen gasped. There it is. Dr. Foley straightened. We need to run new scans, increase neurological monitoring, and notify the family. He stopped when he saw Daniel standing in the doorway, face pale and unreadable. You said she moved, Daniel said quietly. Foley nodded, unaware of the tension. This could be the first sign of emerging from the coma. We are preparing new evaluations. Daniel stepped inside slowly. That sounds promising. But Karen noticed the muscle in his jaw flex, a clear sign he was anything but relieved. Foley did not. He began giving orders, speaking into his tablet, calling the neurologist on duty. Nurses arrived with equipment, updating monitors, adjusting tubes, and 4 lines. The room became busy, full of movement, full of hope. Daniel stayed in the corner, eyes glued to Emily, not blinking. When the exams were done, Foley turned to Karen. Keep a close watch. If she shows any more signs of consciousness, page me immediately. Yes, doctor. The staff left one by one. Foley shook Daniel's hand, murmured that this is encouraging, and stepped out. Only Karen and Daniel remained. Karen approached him slowly. I know this must be overwhelming, but this is good news, Daniel. Your wife might be coming back. He did not smile. He did not thank her. He did not say a single word. Instead, he stared at Emily as if calculating something in his head. Karen's skin prickled. Something felt wrong. Deeply wrong. Daniel finally spoke. Do you think she can hear us yet? Karen hesitated. It is possible. Coma patients sometimes hear voices before waking. Daniel nodded once, too controlled. I see. And is she aware? Could she remember anything said around her? Karen could not answer, but every instinct told her this conversation was dangerous. I am not sure, Daniel, but just talk to her like you normally would. Right, he said. Karen forced a small smile, though her stomach knotted. I will be right outside if you need anything. She stepped out of the room, leaving the door open behind her. Daniel did not move. He waited until she was several steps away. Then the door creaked shut. Karen stopped in the hallway. She turned around confused. She had not closed it. Daniel must have reached back and pushed it closed. A bad feeling settled over her, heavy and sharp. The kind she had learned not to ignore, especially around family members who acted too calm. She stepped closer to the door, hand lifting as if to open it. But just then, another nurse called her name from down the hall, pulling her away. She looked back at the door one more time. Something was not right. Inside, Daniel stood at Emily's bedside, breathing hard, the mask of the devoted husband slipping away entirely now that no one else was there. He sat in the chair. For a moment, he simply studied her face like a man staring at a problem he wished would solve itself. He reached out, brushing her hair back with a touch too careful to be genuine. "You were not supposed to wake up," he whispered. "You were not supposed to still be fighting." The room felt colder. Emily did not move again, but her breathing shifted just slightly. Daniel's eyes flicked to the monitor, then back to her face. "If you wake up and you talk, everything I've built disappears. You understand that, do not you?" She gave no sign. He leaned closer, voice tightening. "You should have let go." A long silence stretched between them. Then Daniel stood, walked behind the bed, and reached down toward the storage shelf beneath the medical supply tray. His hand slid along the lower edge until it touched something heavy, something solid, something not meant to be in anyone's hand. He wrapped his fingers around it. Just then, the sound of the door lock clicked into place. Daniel glanced at the door, then back at Emily. No one else was in the room, his grip tightened around the heavy object. If you have not subscribed yet, we would love for you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give a future to children and women who have been abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Also, let us know in the comments where are you watching from and how did this story speak to you. Darkness still held Emily, but the edges of it were thinner now, stretched like worn fabric, ready to tear. Sounds pressed through the dimness in short bursts. A shuffle of shoes, a quick inhale, the soft clatter of something being set down. All of it blurred together until one sound cut through harder than the rest. Breathing fast, uneven, panicked. Daniel's. Emily sunk closer to the surface of consciousness, just enough to feel the faint tremor in her fingers. She wanted to move them again, to reach out, to pull herself out of the fog. But her body stayed heavy, pinned. The monitor beside her beeped faster, not loud, not frantic, but quick enough for Daniel to notice. He cursed under his breath. "Not now," he whispered. "Not now." Emily heard the faint scrape of him stepping back, as if distance alone would erase what he had been about to do with that hidden object behind the bed. She could almost sense him turning toward the door, trying to decide whether to stay or run. Then footsteps. Karen's voice came next, breaking the tension like a snap. "Daniel, what are you doing in here with the door shut?" He moved fast, too fast. Emily felt the shift of air as he stepped away from her side. I was just checking on her," he said. His voice trembled, but he tried to cover it with a cough. "I lost my balance." I grabbed the back of the bed. Karen must have glanced around because her footsteps paused, cautious. "Everything seems fine. The doctor still wants more scans soon." She came closer. Emily felt her hand touch her wrist. "Her pulse is elevated." "She did that earlier, true," Daniel said quickly. "Maybe it is nothing." Karen did not answer. Emily imagined her narrowing her eyes, not buying it. "Did she move again?" Karen asked. Daniel hesitated. "No, I did not see anything." Karen brushed Emily's hair back gently. "Emily, if you can hear me, you are safe. We are watching you." Then to Daniel, "If anything changes, you come get me immediately." Of course. Karen left. The door stayed open this time. Daniel did not move for a long moment, as if afraid someone might come back and catch him doing something. Emily drifted again, back into the dark, back into the muffled world. When she rose closer to waking again, the room had changed. Someone was sitting near her, breathing quietly, flipping through pages. Lauren. Emily recognized the sound of her bracelets first. The faint metallic tap she always made when she moved her arm. It used to annoy Emily during girls' nights out, but she never said anything. Lauren liked attention, and the bracelets helped her get it. Now each tiny click scraped across Emily's nerves. Lauren sighed, bored. You really had to pick the most dramatic time to twitch, did not you? She muttered. Always a problem, even unconscious. Emily could not react, but her thoughts tightened, calling like a spring. Lauren kept talking, flipping another page. Daniel is a mess because of you. I swear if you ruin everything we planned, I will. She stopped. Footsteps approached again. Daniel. Lauren spoke in a low whisper. Did she move again? You look like you have seen a ghost. Daniel's voice came out thin. I do not know. Karen almost caught me earlier. Caught you doing what? She hissed. Nothing, he snapped. Lauren lowered her voice. Daniel, you were supposed to be careful. I am careful, he whispered back. But she keeps reacting. It is like she knows something. She cannot know anything. She is half dead. Emily heard Daniel exhale shakily. She moved. Lauren froze. What? Her hand, twice. And when I came back after Foley's exam, her breathing changed again. Lauren stood. Her bracelets chimed. Then we need to be ready. If she wakes up and talks, do not say that, Daniel cut in. Not here. Lauren lowered her voice. Fine, but you know what is at stake. Silence stretched tight and sharp. Emily felt herself sink slightly, the fog pulling her down again, but their voices still filtered through. Lauren spoke first. Do you remember the night she found the messages? Daniel groaned. Do not bring that up. You practically begged me to help you, Lauren continued. You said she did not understand you, that she was holding you back. Daniel did not deny it. When she confronted you, Lauren said, you lost it. You told her she never fit with your friends, never dressed right, never sounded like she belonged. You said she embarrassed you. Emily's pulse jumped. The monitor beeped faster. She remembered pieces of that night. A hallway. Raised voices, her keys in her hand, trying to leave the house. Daniel grabbing her arm hard enough to bruise. Lauren caught the rising beats. Her monitor, Daniel, she is reacting. No, it is just a coincidence. You idiot, Lauren whispered. If she wakes up now, she will talk. And if she talks, we are done. Emily fell downward again, not fully unconscious, but farther from the surface. Voices stretched like echoes, their words twisted through the fog. You were cheating long before she figured it out, Lauren said. You said you only married her because she was easy to control. Daniel swore. Lauren, stop. You said she would get in the way of your promotion. Lauren. And you said, quiet. Emily fought the pull of blackness, trying to climb toward their words. She needed to hear. She needed to remember. The final argument before the accident came back in jagged flashes. Emily shouting, Daniel shouting louder, tires on wet pavement, a sharp snap of sound. Then nothing. Her body shivered, though barely. Lauren lowered her voice. Fine, but do not pretend you are innocent. You told me to help push her away from her friends. You made sure she stopped going to book club, stopped meeting up with that coworker she liked. You cut her off from everyone. Emily felt that like a knife. She remembered how lonely she had become, how isolated, how confused. Every small shift now made sense. You are acting like I am the villain here, Daniel whispered. You were part of all of this. Lauren scoffed. Please. You chose this life. You chased me. And now you want to blame me. Keep your voice down. Lauren moved closer to him. Emily could feel the shift of air. If she wakes up, Lauren whispered, all the lies fall apart. And if she stays like this, Daniel murmured. Lauren did not answer. Emily's world dimmed again. The fog thickened. Later, minutes or hours, she could not tell, Emily drifted back up. The room was quieter. Only one person remained. Her mother. Carol's voice cracked with soft tears as she held Emily's hand. Baby, I do not know what is happening anymore. I do not know what to believe, but I am here. I am trying. Please come back to me. Emily tried to squeeze her mother's hand. Nothing moved. Carol let out a shaky breath. Daniel says you might be improving, but every time I ask questions, he shuts me out. He told the doctor I am too emotional to visit Ju Long. Can you believe that? He is making decisions like I do not matter. Emily wanted to rise, wanted to wake, wanted to speak, but the fog held her tight. I know something is wrong, Carol whispered. I feel it. I just cannot get close enough to figure out what. She kissed Emily's forehead and whispered. Fight, sweetheart. Fight your way back. When she left, the room fell silent again. Emily drifted. More time passed. Emily surfaced to hear two nurses whispering near the doorway. I tried to give her mom another hour, one said, but Daniel shut that down fast. He's controlling everything, the other replied quietly. Did you see the paperwork he filed about sedation? He wants her kept calm, but the dose he is asking for is practically the level used after surgery. He said it is for her comfort. Comfort, the nurse repeated, unconvinced. I am not sure that is what he wants. Emily felt a weak spark of fear. She slipped again, floating in and out, trapped under layers of sleep she could not control. When she next surfaced, Daniel was alone with her again. She caught fragments of his voice. Just need more time. She cannot wake up yet. I will lose everything. Emily's pulse spiked again. He paused, listening to the monitor. You hear me, do not you? He whispered. Some part of you hears every word. She could not answer, but she knew he was right. A moment later, he left. The air shifted. The room went still. Emily hung somewhere between worlds now, more aware than before, but still unable to open her eyes or move her lips. The fear inside her was sharper, no longer distant. She knew she was not imagining the danger. She knew she was not misreading the tension in Daniel's voice. He did not want her to wake up. And Lauren did not want her alive at all. The fog thickened again, pulling her under just as another pair of footsteps entered the room. Karen whispered, Emily, you are fighting. I can feel it. Please keep going. Do not let them stop you. Emily sunk into the dark again. The next time she rose to the surface, the world felt closer, clearer. Voices were not distant anymore. They were right beside her. Lauren and Daniel again, arguing. You need to make a decision, Daniel. You cannot stall anymore. I said I am handling it. Well, you are not doing it fast enough, Lauren. If she wakes up, she will talk, Lauren snapped. And guess what? You might convince the doctors you are a grieving husband, but you will not convince the police. Daniel's voice cracked. Keep your voice down. I am serious. We are running out of time. Emily's breathing grew shallow. Their words were not blurry now. They were clear, sharp, terrifying. She tried to move her hand. Nothing happened. She tried to open her eyes. They would not budge. Her mind screamed against the silence. She clung to consciousness, desperate to hear every word. Lauren lowered her voice. You said the accident would end things cleanly. You swore you fixed the brakes right. So if she wakes up and remembers anything, Emily's heart hammered. The beeps came faster. Daniel cursed under his breath. Stop talking. Someone will hear you. Then do something, Lauren snapped. The monitor beeped again, louder this time. Emily's awareness flickered like a dying flame. She slipped back into the black, heart racing, knowing now, without doubt, that she had never been safe. Emily floated in the dark for a long time. It was not peaceful. It was not silent. It was crowded with half memories, fragments of arguments, the echo of Lauren's voice saying, You said the accident would end things cleanly, over and over like a broken record. The fog around her thinned again, the world sharpened. A cold rush of awareness moved through her body. Something inside her, some stubborn will, refused to sink again. She pushed upward. A faint sound reached her first. Soft footsteps, papers shuffling, a plastic cup being set down. She tried to move her hand. This time her fingers twitched more clearly. A slow, deliberate movement. Then a tiny gasp came from someone nearby. Oh my God, Karen whispered. Emily. Emily, are you waking up? Emily wanted to answer. She strained, pushing against her heavy eyelids. They did not open, but they trembled. She heard the shift in Karen's breath. That is it. Come back. Come on, sweetheart. Follow my voice. Emily tried. A wave of exhaustion pulled at her, but she fought it harder than before. She felt the faint sensation of her lips trying to part, her throat tightening as she attempted to make a sound. Nothing came out. Still, Karen squeezed her hand gently. I knew you were in there. I knew it. The door creaked open behind her. Karen turned sharply. Dr. Foley walked in, glancing between the monitor and Emily's face. Vitals are improving, he murmured. Reflexes increasing. This is it, Karen. She is emerging. Karen looked proud, a little relieved, and quietly terrified for reasons she had not dared to say out loud. I will order another neurological evaluation, Foley said, and reduce the sedation. Emily felt something change inside her brain, like a thick blanket being lifted. Light seeped through the cracks of darkness. She clung to it. Keep stimulating, Foley instructed. Talk to her. She is fighting. Karen nodded. Emily, do you hear that? You are doing it. You are waking up. When they left the room, Emily drifted again, but not fully. This time, she hovered near the surface, close enough to hear footsteps outside, hurried voices, phones ringing, someone paging Dr. Foley overhead. Then she heard Daniel. His voice was tight. Why was I not called first? Daniel, Foley said patiently. Your wife is slowly regaining consciousness. This is good news. Good news, Daniel repeated hollowly. You are sure? Positive signs are always good. Right. Of course. His tone lacked emotion. It was flat, controlled, thinking too hard. Emily recognized that tone, the tone he used when he was planning something. He and the doctor walked away, their voices fading. Lauren's sharper whisper was not far behind. What if she wakes up completely? She hissed. Daniel did not answer. Karen returned soon after, humming quietly as she checked vitals. Emily focused on the sound, used it like a rope to pull herself upward. Her eyelids felt lighter. Her throat felt dry but responsive. She tried again to move her lips. They parted a fraction. Karen gasped. There you go. That is it. Come on. Emily strained, giving everything she had. She tried again, harder. Her eyelids lifted just a sliver. Karen clapped a hand over her mouth. Oh my God, Emily, you opened your eyes. They closed again instantly. The light grew sharp, the effort grew much, but the movement was real. You are coming back, Karen whispered close to tears. I am right here. For the first time, Emily felt hopeful. Weak, fragile, still trapped, but hopeful. Hours passed. People came and went. Nurses checked her. Foley asked questions she could not answer yet. Carol cried over her hand, praying out loud and thanking God that her daughter was fighting. Emily's eyes fluttered again. This time, she kept them open longer. The world was blurry, but real. Cold hospital lights above her, shadows of machines, the outline of Karen near her with wide, hopeful eyes. Hey there, Karen whispered. Take your time. You are safe. The words soothed her. Emily blinked slowly, trying to ground herself. Sounds were sharper now, her breathing steadier, her awareness fuller. She could not move much, could not speak, but she could see, she could hear, she could think, and she remembered. Daniel cheating, Lauren laughing, the insults, the lies, the breaks, the crash, the funeral planning, the whisper. Let her die. Everything rose inside her like fire. When Karen saw her trembling, she touched her arm delicately. Do not push yourself. Not yet. You are still too weak. Emily wanted to warn her, wanted to tell her Daniel was not who he pretended to be. But she could only stare helplessly. I will get the doctor, Karen said. Just rest a minute. She slipped out quickly. Emily lay there alone, breathing shallowly, forcing her tired eyes to stay open. Her body felt like wet cement, heavy and uncooperative, but her mind was racing. She needed to protect herself. She needed to remember everything. She needed to stay awake. She had just enough strength now to stay conscious, but not enough to defend herself. That terrified her more than the darkness ever had. Seconds later, she heard footsteps. Heavy ones. Slow ones. Daniel. Emily's pulse spiked. He stepped inside the room holding a folder. She saw the papers inside, dozens of them, thick, official looking. His eyes went straight to her face. He froze. The shock on his face was instant. His mouth fell open. His fingers tightened around the folder until the papers bent. He stared at her like he was staring at a ghost. Emily held his gaze barely, weakly, but she held it. Her throat tightened, her lips trembled. She gathered every tiny bit of strength she had left. Her mouth parted. The faintest whisper of a word formed on her lips. Why? Barely audible, broken, fragile, but clear. Daniel staggered back a step. For a split second, real fear flashed in his eyes. Raw, naked fear. Then something darker replaced it. Cold calculation. His chest rose slowly as he forced a calm smile. He stepped closer to her bed, eyes sharpening with a focus she knew too well. He lifted the folder in his hand, the transfer papers, and said in a soft, dangerous voice, "Well, looks like we need to talk." Daniel did not blink when a nurse walked in, saw him hovering over Emily's bed with tears in his eyes, and gasped softly like she was witnessing a miracle of love. He turned toward her, wiping an imaginary tear from his cheek. She opened her eyes, he whispered shakily. "I cannot believe it. I thought I lost her." His voice cracked perfectly. Too perfectly. The nurse's hand flew to her chest. "Daniel, this is incredible. She is so lucky to have you." He bowed his head like he was humbled. "I would have stayed forever if I had to. She is my whole world." Emily wanted to scream. She felt her chest tighten with rage she could not release. She could barely move, barely breathe without pain. And he stood there playing grieving husband like he had not been planning her funeral weeks ago. The nurse squeezed his arm. "You have been so devoted. We talk about it at the station all the time." Emily's stomach twisted. Her monitor beeped a little faster. Daniel noticed, glanced down at her, and the mask flickered back into place. "Hey," he murmured softly, leaning close enough that the nurse could not see his eyes harden. "You are safe now. I am here." Emily knew that voice. It was the one he used on dinner guests when he wanted to charm his way out of awkward questions. It was not affection. It was performance. When the nurse left, Daniel stayed. He dabbed at his eyes again like he expected applause. "Look at you," he whispered, awake and helpless at the same time. Could not have timed it worse. Emily tried to turn her head, but her neck barely moved. Her muscles trembled with effort. Daniel saw the tiny motion and smiled. "Careful," he murmured. "Someone might think you are trying to talk." She wanted to claw his face open with her bare hands. A soft knock broke the moment. Karen stepped in. Her face lit up when she saw Emily awake again. "Hey, there you are. How long have you been alert?" "She just woke a minute ago," Daniel said, beating Karen to the answer. Karen frowned. "Actually, she was awake earlier, too. I saw her eyes open." Daniel's jaw tightened, but he kept his tone warm. "Yes, of course, but she drifted off again." Karen stepped around him to check the monitors. "Emily, blink if you can hear me." Emily blinked once, slow, heavy, but intentional. Karen smiled, relieved. "Good. That is good." Daniel stepped closer, blocking Karen's view a little. She should not get overstimulated. We do not want to overwhelm her. Karen's eyes narrowed at him. Stimulating patience is part of the waking process. Still, Daniel said softly, "Let us not push her." Karen looked like she wanted to argue, but a voice from the hall called her name. She gave Emily a worried glance before stepping out. When she left, Daniel leaned down again, whispering, "The more you wake up, the more you ruin for yourself." Emily's breath hitched. He smiled like they were sharing a private joke. Hours later, after several nurses came and went, praising Daniel's devotion, Karen returned, looking shaken. She closed the door halfway and spoke in a whisper. "Emily, I need you to stay calm. Something is going on." Her hands trembled as she adjusted Emily's pillow. "My supervisor pulled me aside. Daniel filed a complaint against me." Emily's eyes widened. "He claims I have been interfering with his decisions," Karen continued. "He said I have created a hostile environment for the family, that I have overstepped medical boundaries." Emily's heart pounded, weak but fast. "I am not losing my job over this," Karen said, voice breaking a little. "So, I have to be careful, but I am not abandoning you." She brushed Emily's hand lightly, a silent promise. Then the door swung open again. "Carol." Emily's mother looked exhausted, eyes puffy from crying, hair hastily pulled back like she had been rushing from somewhere. "Oh, sweetheart," Carol breathed, hurrying to her side. "You are awake. You are really awake." Emily felt tears pricking her eyes. She blinked, slow but deliberate. Carol held her hand gently and whispered, "I have been praying for this." Daniel slipped in behind her like a shadow. "I called her," he said to the nurses nearby as soon as Emily started waking up. That was the lie. Emily knew it, but Carol did not. She turned to Daniel. "We need to talk now." Daniel frowned. "Carol, this is not the time." "No." She stood, hands shaking. "You have been controlling everything, hiding things. I am done staying quiet." Daniel's eyes chilled. "If you have something to say, say it." Carol reached into her bag and pulled out papers, printed emails. "I got these today from your lawyer. Emails from Emily saying she wanted to divorce you, that she was unhappy, that she did not trust me anymore, that she did not want me involved in her life." Emily's heart slammed painfully. "What emails?" Carol's voice cracked. "Tell me these are not real, please." Daniel let out a soft, sad sigh and rubbed his temples. "Carol, I did not want you to find out this way." Emily wanted to scream. She blinked 3 rapid times, trying to signal her mother that it was a lie. But Carol was not looking at her. "She was talking to a divorce attorney," Daniel said softly. "She said she did not want to hurt you, so she planned to distance herself. She felt ashamed of how dependent you were on her." Carol gasped. She looked shattered. Emily blinked frantically. "Slow, fast, anything." Daniel placed a comforting hand on Carol's shoulder. "I did not want to bring this up now, but you need to understand. She was not the person you remember." Carol backed away from him. I do not know what to believe." Daniel gently guided her toward the door. "Go home, Carol. Rest. When you are calmer, we can talk." "No," Carol whispered, shaking her head, tears spilling. "No, no, no." "Please," Daniel said, voice soft and saintly for the watching staff. "Let me take care of her." Carol stumbled out, crying, her hand pressed to her mouth. Emily's heart broke. Daniel turned back toward her. You are welcome, he whispered. The next morning, after a restless night of drifting in and out of awareness, Emily sensed someone entering with slow, confident steps. Lauren. She stood alone in the doorway, smiling like she was visiting an old friend recovering from a cold. Look at you, Lauren cooed. Awake and still pathetic. Emily's pulse raced. Lauren slipped inside, closing the door gently behind her. Do not worry, Daniel is handling everything. He always does. She strolled to the bedside, examining her nails. He told me you tried to talk, that you mouthed a word when he came in. Adorable. What did you say? Why? How? Help. Emily's fingers trembled. Let me guess. She leaned in close, her perfume sharp and sugary. You realized he is leaving you. You realized he and I are getting married. Emily's eyes widened. Oh, yes, Lauren whispered gleefully. He proposed with the ring he originally bought for me before he chickened out and married you. Emily felt something break inside her. Lauren's smile widened. And do not feel too bad. You were never right for him. You were small, ordinary, a burden he carried to look stable. He told me that. Emily blinked tears. And your accident? Lauren mused. Funny how it happened right after you found the texts, is it not? Emily's breath caught. The monitor beeped faster. Lauren smirked. Maybe you lost control. Maybe the rain did it. Or maybe. She tilted her head with false innocence. Maybe Daniel did not want a messy divorce. Emily stared at her, horrified. Relax, Lauren whispered. I am not saying he did anything. I am just saying. Brakes fail all the time. Emily's blood ran cold. Lauren tapped the bed rail lightly. But hey, you are alive for now. She leaned close enough that Emily felt her breath on her cheek. You wake up wrong, say the wrong thing, and your mother might end up in a similar accident. Do you understand? Emily's heart plummeted. Lauren's smile turned vicious. Good talk. She gave a playful little wave and walked out. Emily lay there shattered, her body frozen, her mind spiraling. For the first time since waking up, she wondered if surviving had been a mistake. If coming back meant only more pain, more danger, more helplessness. She drifted into a shaky half-sleep, drowning in fear. Hours later, she woke to the sound of someone entering softly. Karen. She looked around as if making sure no one else was watching. Then she leaned close to Emily and slipped something small and metal into her palm. A tiny recorder. Tomorrow, Karen whispered, trembling. I am telling you something Daniel never wanted you to know. Emily tried to squeeze the recorder. She could not, but she held it. Karen squeezed her shoulder and hurried out. Emily lay still, heart pounding, terrified and hopeful at the same time. Then evening came. The hallway quieted. The building dimmed. A flicker of lights flashed overhead. Emily felt cold air wash through the room. Footsteps approached. Slow, heavy. Daniel. He walked in without a sound. He closed the door behind him. It clicked. He stepped closer, his shadow falling across her. We should have buried you when we had the chance, he whispered. He reached for her foreline. The room felt too small for both of them, too dark, too quiet. Even the monitor seemed to sense danger, its beeps stretching thin between each second. Emily tried to control her breathing, but fear tightened around her chest until every inhale felt like a fight. Daniel stepped closer, the soles of his shoes whispering across the tile. He stared down at her like she was not a person at all, but a problem he had been trying to solve for months. "Well," he murmured softly. "You certainly complicated things." Emily's pulse spiked. The monitor beeped faster. Daniel glanced at it and a smile twitched, almost amused. "Relax," he whispered, brushing two fingers across the four cubing. "If you panic, someone might walk in, and we do not want that." Emily's breath trembled through her nose. She forced her body to stay still, though her mind raced wildly. He leaned closer, voice low and detached. "Do you know how much easier my life would have been if you stayed asleep? Everyone believed I was devoted, loyal, a perfect husband. They were eating it up." A small laugh escaped him. "And then you woke up." Her eyes burned. She wanted to scream, to fight, anything, but her body refused to obey. Daniel circled to the other side of the bed, pressing a hand against the mattress as he leaned in. "You know what is funny? They are still praising me. Even now, even when you are awake." His voice softened, almost fond. "They call me a saint." Emily shut her eyes tightly for a moment, then forced them open again. She could not lose sight of him. "Not now." "But you are becoming a liability," he whispered. Emily felt the cold realization settle in her bones. He was not panicking. He was not desperate. He was calm. Too calm. He had thought about this, planned it. Daniel stepped back inside. "You were not supposed to wake up. You were not supposed to drag this out." He looked toward the door, listening for footsteps. "Nothing." He continued, voice light as if discussing something trivial. "I am transferring you in the morning. Facility out of town. Quiet place. Very private. They will keep you heavily sedated." His eyes hardened. "No more surprises." The room tilted. Emily's sight wavered. She tried again to move her hand. It barely twitched. Daniel noticed. "Oh, look at that," he said softly, trying so hard. He approached her again, standing directly beside the four-pole. He touched the bag gently, as if admiring it. "You know, sedatives are tricky things. Too little and you wake up. Too much." He shrugged. "Accidents happen." Emily felt panic bloom in her chest, her throat tightened painfully. He leaned down, his face inches from hers. "I warned you. If you tried to ruin everything, I would fix it." Her mind raced through every horrible thing she had learned in the last few days. Lawrence taunts, the forged emails, the drained accounts, his new proposal, the implication about the breaks. Every piece snapped together now, forming one clear truth. Daniel did not see her as a threat. He saw her as unfinished business. Emily's eyes filled with tears she could not wipe away. Her breath came out short and shaky. She did not know if anyone would walk in. She did not know if Karen was still on shift. She did not know if her mother would come back tonight. She did not know if she would survive these next minutes. Daniel reached out and ran a thumb gently across her cheek. The gesture was so tender it made her stomach turn. "I told everyone I missed you," he whispered. "Funny, right?" His hand dropped to the 4 line. Emily's heart pounded so hard the monitor shrieked in alarm. Daniel did not flinch. He slowly lifted the tubing between his fingertips. Something shifted outside the room, a faint sound like distant footsteps, but they did not stop at her door. They faded down the hallway. Daniel exhaled in relief. Good, he murmured. I would hate for anyone to interrupt us. Her lungs tightened. She gathered every ounce of strength left in her body and tried to move her arm. It jerked weakly, just enough to twitch the blanket. Daniel saw it. He smiled. Still fighting, he whispered, just like before the accident. Her pulse skyrocketed, her mind flashed with memory. Rain, headlights, brakes not catching. Daniel shouting behind her earlier that night, her screaming his name right before the world spun. The truth washed over her in a violent wave. He knew she remembered pieces. He feared she would remember more. He reached toward the 4 connector, fingers brushing the latch. Emily's breath came out in a choked sound, her first real vocal noise since waking. A tiny, strained whimper. Daniel froze. Then he leaned close. So close she could smell his cologne. We should have buried you when we had the chance. His hand tightened on the 4 line, his fingers curled around the release latch, and he began to pull. Daniel's fingers tightened around the 4 latch, and Emily felt the cold slide of fear shoot through her body. She tried to scream, but the sound stuck in her throat. Her chest heaved. Her eyes watered. The monitor blared its alarm in a frantic, high-pitched rhythm, but Daniel did not back away. This is for both of us, he whispered. You will stop suffering, and I will get my life back. Then something shifted. A tiny bump under the blanket. Emily barely felt it happen. Her hand twitched, nudging the small metal recorder Karen had slipped into her palm. It rolled barely an inch and hit the bed rail. It beeped, a soft, unmistakable chirp. Daniel froze. The blood drained from his face as he stared at the blanket at the tiny glint of silver that peeked out from underneath the fabric. He dropped the 4 tubing, snatching the recorder with shaking hands. What is this? He whispered, voice trembling with rage. Where did you get this? He pressed buttons, rewinding. A distorted sound crackled out, his own voice. We should have buried you when we had the chance. Another tap, Lauren's voice. Maybe Daniel did not want a messy divorce. Another Daniel again. She is a liability. His fingers spasmed around the device. You recorded me? He whispered at Emily, eyes darkening with disbelief. You little. He lifted the recorder as if to smash it. The door burst open. Daniel, step away from her. Karen shouted, charging in with 2 security officers behind her. Daniel spun around, startled, the recorder still in hand. This is not what it looks like, but everything was crumbling fast. Karen pointed at the 4 lines still dangling from his fingers. He was tampering with her medication. I saw it from the hall. That is a lie. Daniel shouted. One officer stepped closer. Sir, put the device down and move away from the patient. Daniel's jaw tightened, but he did as ordered, slowly lowering his hands. His mask was slipping. Panic trembled beneath his skin. Emily watched every flicker of fear as if her life depended on it. In truth, it did. Karen rushed to Emily's side, squeezing her shoulder gently. It is over. You are safe now. But her voice wavered, not from fear, but from the weight of what she was about to do. She straightened and faced the officers. There is something you need to hear, she said. Something the hospital already recorded. Daniel's head whipped toward her. What are you talking about? Karen did not look at him. She looked at Emily. You were not as unconscious as he thought. Daniel blinked, confused. What? Emily was semi-conscious at times during her coma, Karen said firmly. She spoke fragmented words. And because of hospital policy, the entire room was under continuous audio monitoring while she was classified as a high-risk patient. Daniel stepped back. No, that is not possible. Karen nodded slowly. Every word you and Lauren said in this room was recorded. The funeral planning, the inheritance talk, the conversations about her accident, all of it. Daniel's mind worked frantically as he shook his head. This is ridiculous. You are making things up. There is no way. But Karen stayed steady. Legal will release the files in the morning. They already heard enough to suspend all decisions you tried to make for her. Daniel's face crumpled into something ugly. You are lying. You are all lying. Security moved in closer. Sir, you need to come with us. Daniel lunged toward the bed as if he could somehow reclaim control, but the officers grabbed his arms. He struggled, shouting, Emily, stop this. You are confused. You are not thinking clearly. Emily blinked once, slow and deliberate. Karen whispered, she knows exactly what she is doing. They dragged Daniel out of the room, still shouting, still denying, still trying to salvage the life he had spent years building out of lies. The moment the door shut, Emily sagged back into her pillow, exhausted. Her eyes burned with tears. Her breathing trembled. She was safe for now, but her body shook from the adrenaline coursing through her. Karen leaned down, brushing Emily's hair away from her forehead. I am so sorry. I should have acted sooner. I should have trusted my instincts from the first day. She swallowed hard. But I am here now and we are going to fix this. Emily blinked gratefully. The next hours blurred into motion. Two nurses transferred her to a secure wing on the other side of the hospital, a place Daniel could not access. They adjusted her monitors, checked her 4 lines, increased surveillance. Karen stayed close, hovering protectively, refusing to leave until she was sure Emily was stable. Emily drifted in and out, no longer from sedation, but from sheer emotional exhaustion. She felt safer in this new room. The air even felt different, lighter, cleaner. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw Daniel's face twisting into fury as he grabbed the recorder. When morning light filtered through the blinds, a familiar voice rushed through the doorway. Carol. She ran to Emily's side, tears streaming as she cupped her daughter's face. Baby, oh, baby, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Emily blinked slowly, trying to reassure her. Carol was shaking. Karen called me this morning. She told me everything. Those emails, Daniel forged them. He lied to me. He lied about you. He lied about everything. Emily blinked again, her eyes softening. Carol took a deep breath, steadying herself. And the recordings, I heard some of them. I heard him. I heard that woman. Her voice broke with a sob. I should have protected you. I should have seen who he was. Emily wanted to lift her hand, to touch her mother, to tell her none of this was her fault. But her body would not quite cooperate. Instead, she blinked twice. Carol kissed her forehead. We are getting justice for you. I promise. A quiet knock sounded at the door. Two detectives entered, plain clothes, calm, serious. They introduced themselves gently, then spoke with Karen in the hallway, their voices low. Emily caught fragments, multiple hours of recordings. Clear evidence of intent. Obtaining warrant for the vehicle inspection. Interviewing the other woman. She felt a fragile spark of hope. For the first time since waking up, someone believed her. Someone was fighting for her. Someone powerful enough to stop him. Karen returned and whispered, "They will handle it from here. You do not have to be alone anymore." Later that afternoon, the police made their move quietly. They did not announce it. They did not want Daniel to know. They wanted him off balance, trapped, exposed. Emily lay in bed, listening to her monitor's steady rhythm, waiting, praying the next update would be the one she needed. She did not know that miles away, Daniel was being questioned. She did not know Lauren was already panicking. She did not know the walls closing in around them were built from their own words. She only knew that justice had finally stepped into the room and it was headed straight for them. Lauren had always prided herself on staying cool under pressure. But today, her hands shook as she threw clothes into a suitcase. She was not thinking about outfits or makeup or the next charity gala she would use to climb another social rung. She was thinking about police, about recordings, about Daniel's unraveling expression as security dragged him away. She thought he would keep it together. She thought he would cover for her, but she had heard the detectives showed up at the hospital this morning. She had heard they seized the room recordings. She knew the investigation was real now, which meant she needed to disappear before anyone knocked on her door. She zipped the suitcase and grabbed her purse, only to freeze when she heard her name outside. Lauren Price. Her blood ran cold. She didn't answer. "Open the door. We just want to ask you some questions." She backed away from the door, trembling. Questions were dangerous. Questions led to answers she wasn't willing to give, answers Daniel had sworn she'd never have to deal with. She grabbed the suitcase and bolted for the fire escape. She didn't get far. A hand clamped around her wrist. She spun around to see Daniel, but not the polished, calculated version she knew. This Daniel was frantic, sweaty, and wild-eyed. His tie was crooked, his hair a mess, and his expression was a mixture of rage, fear, and betrayal. "Going somewhere?" he hissed. Lauren tried to yank her arm away. "Let go, Daniel. The cops are everywhere. We need to leave." "We?" he asked, incredulous. "There is no we." "Oh, don't start with that," Lauren snapped. "You pulled me into this. You begged me to help you get rid of her. You told me." "I told you nothing," Daniel said, stepping closer. "And if the police come for me, I'm not going down alone." Lauren's breath caught. "Are you threatening me?" "You ruined everything," he shouted, shoving her against the wall. "If you had kept your mouth shut in that hospital room." "You're the one who messed up," she shot back. "You pushed her. You cornered her. You couldn't even kill her right." Daniel slammed his hand against the wall beside her head, caging her in. "You think I'm the reason this is falling apart?" Lauren nodded sharply, eyes wide with fear. "Yes. You're reckless. You always were." He leaned in close, his voice low and shaking. "I fixed the brakes for you." Lauren froze. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. "You wanted her gone more than I did," Daniel whispered. You said she was in the way. You said you needed me free. You said. Stop, Lauren pleaded. Someone could hear us. And someone did. The detectives stepped into the hallway, both of them with their badges raised. Daniel Carter, Lauren Price, please step away from each other. Daniel spun around, shock flooding his face. What are you doing here? Lauren pointed at him instantly. It was him. He said he sabotaged her brakes. He just admitted it. Daniel laughed, a short, unhinged sound. Oh, please. She's lying. She's trying to save herself. One detective reached for his cuffs. Funny thing, he said. We just heard your entire conversation. Daniel's eyes widened in horror. Lauren bolted for the stairwell, but she didn't get far before another officer intercepted her. Daniel tried to run too, but there were too many of them. The metal cuffs snapped around his wrists. Daniel Carter, the detective said, you are under arrest for attempted murder, fraud, medical coercion, and conspiracy. Lauren screamed as she was cuffed as well. You can't prove anything. Daniel shouted as they dragged him toward the elevator. You hear me? You can't prove anything. She can't even talk. But his voice cracked under the weight of his own panic. The detectives didn't answer. The elevator doors closed. And just like that, the two people who had tried to bury Emily were gone. The path to justice. Back at the hospital, Emily woke to the sound of someone entering quietly. Carol. She carried a stack of papers and a manila folder, with a determination in her eyes Emily had never seen before. Carol sat beside her daughter, took a shaky breath, and said, they arrested him. They arrested both of them. Emily felt tears prick her eyes. Carol opened the manila folder and held up a single sheet. This is everything he drained from your accounts. Another sheet. This is proof he refinanced the house behind your back. Another. And this is the sale contract for your business. He forged your signature. Emily blinked once, then twice, letting the tears spill. But we're getting it back, Carol whispered fiercely. Every dollar, every piece of your life. And I'm going to help you rebuild it all. Karen came in next, her eyes red from crying, not out of sadness, but relief. She pulled up a chair and leaned close. I listened to the recordings, she said. All of them. And there's something you need to know. Emily blinked slowly. Karen swallowed. You talked while you were in the coma. Your brain wasn't fully asleep. You said single words, sometimes sounds. And one of those recordings. She hesitated. It caught something I don't think you've remembered yet. Emily's heart thudded unevenly. Karen continued softly. Right before your accident, you whispered his name. Emily froze. Her breathing stuttered. Her eyes filled. You knew, Karen whispered. Some part of you saw who touched your car. Some part of you fought to survive because you refused to let him get away with it. The revelation hit Emily like a shock wave. Memories she didn't know she still carried rippled through her chest. The rain, the brakes, Daniel's face in the driveway, his angry words echoing in her head. Her whisper, Daniel, right before the world went black. Her body hadn't just saved her, her will had. Karen took her hand. And now that he's arrested, you can finally breathe. Another detective entered briefly, nodding respectfully. Miss Carter, we'll be pursuing full charges. The evidence is overwhelming, thanks to you. Thanks to her. A woman who couldn't move, could barely speak, and could only feel terror, but who still fought. Reclaiming the light. Days passed and healing began. Emily regained more movement. Her voice returned in soft whispers. Her therapists were stunned at how fast she progressed. Rage was her motivation. Hope was her fuel. Justice was her oxygen. Finally, after weeks of silence, she spoke her first full sentence to Karen. "Thank you for believing me." Karen cried harder than she expected. Rebuilding her life took time, but Emily did it brick by brick. She reclaimed her business. She froze Daniel's accounts. She filed charges for fraud, abuse, and attempted murder. She joined support groups, made new friends, and reached out to old ones Daniel had pushed away. She and her mother grew closer than ever. The woman who once lay helpless in a bed now moved through the world with steady steps, carrying scars that didn't weaken her. On the day she finally listened to the full hospital recording, she sat alone with the headphones on. She heard Daniel and Lauren laughing about her funeral. She heard them planning her burial outfit. She heard them argue over who would get her grandmother's ring. She heard Daniel whisper, "Let her die." But the most haunting part came from her own voice, faint and cracked. "Daniel." A whisper of warning, a whisper of truth, a whisper of survival. She took off the headphones slowly, her heart heavy but steady. She didn't survive because the universe saved her. She survived because she refused to let him win, even while unconscious. Evil thrives in silence. Love is proven in action, not flattering lies. And sometimes the person who wants you dead is the one pretending to keep you alive. Emily walked out of that dark chapter with a clarity she never had before. And she vowed never to be silent again.